So I spoke with the realtor and all that today, and all that. Just working on the easement stuff. To make things a little bit easier and speedier, it's for when buyers come in. I'll be leaving something for these other realtors to know that even though it's a separate purchase, they can purchase the lots that I have that contact, and they won't be listed, but they're available. Basically, pretty much if you go through me to and all that type stuff. But no, things are actually going smooth. It's gonna take a little bit longer, but I'm basically done with the bathroom here. I just got to spend probably tomorrow cleaning out, like this crap, and the old vanity. Just get rid of it and start moving some stuff to the back room. But flip this around. So we've already seen this before, but it's all in. This is anchored in. I've got this attached. What is that? Okay, but I got this attached to it. Right now it's setting and all that, so I'm not going to mess with it too much. But then, yeah, I would have put the knob things in, but because of that little indent, the screws are not actually long enough. So these screws, they'll go through and they won't even touch the threads. Got the plumbing done. Got the toilet all done up. The only thing I couldn't do is not this bolt, but the one on the other side. I'm just going to have to leave a little note or something on the toilet, letting them know that they'll have to try and clear out the threads or whatever. Carefully retap it real quick using a smaller screw to clean out the threads a little bit, or whatever. But that way it can get bolted down the rest of the way properly on that side. Otherwise, yeah, it's not going to move. I still, of all things, have to sit on it here and there, so that way it helps set the wax seal in place. But then after that, basically done. It's just clean out and all that fun stuff. We'll be having to, when it comes to the RV, there's a chance I'm, going to end up having to use one of the other two people that I know to do that, because I'm not sure exactly what's happening with the one, because there's, when my kids are trying to interfere with this stuff and it's becoming obvious, it needs to stop, because now it's going to even affect them for making some money off of this job, because they were getting paid. It wasn't going to be one of those things where it's a freebie for a friend. And I'm not playing these games. My son doesn't seem to understand exactly why I got upset, so that's why hearing this, I'm gonna probably pause it here in a moment, and then you'll see me pop back up where I'll be doing like a screen record. Because even though what he sent me is already as its own little vid thing, because if he doesn't quite understand what he did when my we're not stupid. My folks got to read that too, and what was said was not okay. And as much as like what I've already previously stated, where I was trying to make sure that my grandchild doesn't get cut from things, because it's not his part in things, and I don't want things to go to that extent. But because of all the manipulation and shady shit that's gone on between my boys and a couple others involved, including my ex. No, we're at this point, what they did is they put my folks and I on the same page. This situation will, once the home's sold and all that, it'll give me, we've already kind of come to that, we already spoke about it actually, where after I move back up there, I'll be staying in the trailer for at least, about a year and a half. I don't want to push it more than 2 years. It's about how long it takes to really, kind of get a business going. Um, if I go back part-time work, something like that, I don't have a problem with that at this point because I'm pretty done with the shit. I'm not allowing people to fuck with my family like that. Families have issues, but you don't need to add to the issues by being a fucking asshole. Um, we all have assholes we're all assholes in our own right. We don't need to keep adding to the problems by manipulating our family members to hurt one of them. And because of what's been going on and everything, and because we already know that neighborhood, they're already planning within the next, starting in the next couple years ago, because my folks already got letters on it, that the county or whatever is going to start coming in and buying up the homes, going closer to them from the golf course, and we'll start replacing a lot of them, especially the ones like my folks' homes and my folks' place and the homes around right in that spot, because it'll end up getting turned into pretty much townhouses and apartments. That was the lot mapping for that whole neighborhood when they originally were putting in the golf course and then the big $1 million homes and shit. They showed everything all the way out past my folks' place, all the way out to basically an apple orchard that's back behind the neighborhood, or a tree farm. And so my folks were wanting to do, help the kids out, but they're not going to do that under the wrong reasons, let alone when they're going to start fucking with people. Your guys' game kind of fucking collapsed. You've already very much helped destroy one relationship and a set of lives. You didn't need to fuck my parents over too. And this in the long run is just giving me the ability that I don't have, I'll have money put into a time lock so I don't have to touch it, and I can't touch it till I'm ready to move. And then I have money to put it down on a home. They know that once there and all that, I mean, even between now and then, we can start focusing on pricing on getting their kitchen done, their dining room, living room, and hallways done. And in doing that, I mean, that's only going to be, that right there in the long run would literally actually pay for it. That word literally keeps coming about. That'll actually end up, overall, it'll pay them back for what they helped me out with in this place. Yet at the same time, within the next, say, year and a half, 2 years, they made the decision that they want to get those rooms done, and they're going to sell the house. They're not going to play the vulture game with family. They're not going to play the manipulation game, the dictations, and all that stuff. They're not doing that. You don't go out, playing dumb about what you said. Yeah, you can have a relationship with us, on the phone, but it's not going to happen, this, that, and the other. And, well, since you know that the only areas right now that I can go find a home is out of state, yeah, the intentions is really to kind of phase myself out of the family, is what they're doing. And they don't realize it just backfired shit. So where I was pushing to where even my grandson, if anything, my grandson at least inherited a place. It's something we're still talking about right now. And it being done up to where he couldn't, the house couldn't be sold until he was old enough to do it himself. But my folks are just at the point they don't want to deal with this shit. They want to move. Neither one of them want to be stuck in that house the rest of their life. And so, yeah, I have no problems helping. I have no problems at this point utilizing what I've earned from this place to help get theirs fixed up so that they can have it done and ready to be sold and then move. And basically the goal is about 1.5 to 2 years from now, just as mine was, it's not just to get my business going, but by that point I should be able to be on my feet to get a home of my own. And then and then move, and my folks would be able to move too. Uh, if insurance, if they, cause they had, my dad and mom has pretty decent insurance, with the military insurance and all that stuff. So, I mean, hopefully, that we can look into possible caregivers for them too at some point through all this, even while I'm there, for that added help in the sense. Uh, and just, I'm thinking of other possible options in the situation to help them out in the long term, and not just, I'm not even thinking about what I'm getting out of this. Because I'm actually not getting shit out of this. I'm having to postpone getting my own home. And I'm at least getting the ability to start a business, work on it, build it up for the next year or so, until my folks are ready to sell their home and move. And which it should be about the same time. We're just tired of the shit. We're tired of the games. All of it. And so I'm going to pause this, or whatever, stop this part of the recording, and I'm going to switch over to the screen record, because my son doesn't seem to quite understand what he just did. You know what? No, I'm not going to do that. Because he has he all he has to do is go scroll up and read what he said, and really read it, and think about what that ultimatum was and what he based all his statements on. He based everything on jackass assumptions. People talking shit. And we're not playing this. You guys have already demonized the shit out of me enough, and you've done enough damage, and it's come to a point we're starting to recognize what you're doing, whether you do or not. And so it's been put to a stop. You don't do that. You don't do that shit. So if what it turns into is, whether you guys believe it or not, I still worked my ass off throughout a lot of years throughout my life, even while disabled, pushed myself through a lot of shit. And instead of going and chasing dreams that I wanted to, I pushed all that back. Anything and everything that I was trying to go towards before I had custody of my younger son, I took all that and pushed it back, because back then that was what I was trying to go for. I was trying to start my own biz. But I knew under limited income, it was going to be that much harder. And I had to make a choice. Either make it nearly impossible to start a successful business while trying to raise a child, or push that back, raise my son the best I can, and at the time try to be the best husband I could. And obviously I ain't shit to anybody. I'm just either a stepping stool to the next thing or something. That's what it feels like. Because his mom and I didn't really have a whole lot of fights. We had a couple of disagreements there. It was like 3 or 4 there in that last bit. But we really didn't have a lot of shit problems. It wasn't until after all that all this shit started going on. The way she left wasn't good, though. It was fucked up. But I took the time to, it's like I knew that I couldn't do what I wanted to do with my life because of my limitations, and financial and physical and all that. And even my mental limitations. And I still, through everything, I still pushed myself through it, still worked through it at every moment that I fucking could. My son could have just grew up in project housing, and all that through that whole time. I didn't have to put things on hold when it comes to my health and all that stuff. I didn't have to do what I did. I could have been that narcissistic jackass that's like, no, I don't want my son. I'm not going to step up. I'm not going to do my best within my abilities to try and provide the things he needs and try to do some of the things that he wants. And if I can't, at least leave that opportunity open there so that any family members who might have wanted to do those things for him, they could. I knew I couldn't take them to Disneyland and do all this shit. I've never even been there. I don't know what it's like to be to places like that. I get to live vicariously through other people's eyes. But let's see here. Come over and grab this ash real quick. Although I've been to a few places in life, I've never had any real vacation before. I mean, for me, the only type of anything that I could really consider like a real vacation, like where you either hop on a plane or something like that, and you go somewhere to go, at least enjoy your time. That was when I was in middle school, and was when my mom wanted to go down to San Francisco and out to Oakland to not to see my cousin, but she wanted to see the places that she had, where she grew up at as a kid and where she used to live, those types of stuff. So it was kind of a trip down a vacation to memory lane type thing for my mom. Got to see Fisherman's Wharf a bit and all that stuff. And my cousin Mikey went along too, and it was fun. But that was the last time I've ever been on a real vacation. Before that, with the family, I hadn't been on a vacation before. My brothers have got to experience other countries, other places, stuff like that as children, all that, and my oldest, because of his military part. But they got to experience a lot of the traveling where I didn't. I never really got to. After my middle brother got in trouble and everything with what he did, just that kind of really threw a wrench in a lot of things. That's with that, and then dealing with, as a kid, my mental health, at the time we didn't know I was on spectrum, and there was not a lot of information back then about it. So it was always, trying to treat for what they knew best at the time, which just realistically made things worse for me in a lot of ways and harder for my mom and them. But a combination of medical bills, my brother shit, not caused my folks to have to file bankruptcy, and they've had to do so more than once over the years. And I think it was over the last 10, 15 or so years. And not that they haven't really had to do a lot of that or worry about that. My dad was able to build his credit up, to back up, get everything back to where it was supposed to be. Everything. Like, my folks worked hard on that, and I learned from their mistakes. So I try not to do the things that they do. It's like, some people look at me and like, why aren't you going to the doctors for this, that, and the other? It's because, I'm sorry, I don't have the insurance, and I don't have the money to pay the doctors. I go if I have to. But otherwise, I have to pay for my home and all that stuff. Excuse me. And hospital bills are the number one, what I've witnessed, it's been the number one way that my family's gone bankrupt, has mainly been hospital bills. And so I just, trying my best to I may take things slow in life. I may progress a little slower in life than most people, and a lot of it is, that slow and steady type mentality that I have. Some things I feel like I gotta rush, and it's like if something's broken or there's a problem in a relationship, I start to catastrophize shit, and then I start to get that urgent notion that I need to fix what's wrong, and then that's when I start to make mistakes, and I have to slow myself down on that. Where most everything else, I've pretty much, I try to go about things step by step and think it through as I'm going. So yeah, it's kind of that's what's happening right now with my folks and me moving back up there and all that shit. Don't play those games. You just don't. You don't play those games with your family. You don't. Oh man. Yeah. You. I'll be right back. Back. And what I'm about to read to you is the very thing that really shot my child in the foot and kind of set everything else into a different direction. Yeah, it's going to take me a little longer to do what I need to do because, well, I've been having to do pretty much everything for the most part on my own and alone. And the only people I've really ever had to be able to rely on in my life are my folks. So there's a reason why I don't give too much trust or rely too much on other people because nobody's showing me that they're reliable outside of that. It's usually me coming at the beck and whim, but when I need somebody, when things are bad, I don't see them at all. They all disappear. What my son doesn't realize is I already have known he's been a part of this bullshit since we got this house, and he doesn't want to get drug into the drama, but he was already a part of the drama from day one. As him and his brother literally actively undermined. I keep wanting to call her my other half. I'm still in that mind frame. My son's mom and I they were undermining us, and they were creating a lot of problems. And her anxieties, her PTSD shit started flowing like water, and it turned into chaos, and they knew it. Kenneth, I've got a text message where he laughed and thought it was funny that he knew he could get me triggered and all that stuff and thought that was funny. So he needs to realize I recognize that he was doing that to his mom and I both and others. And he gets off on chaos. He gets off on it. Where Christian got sucked into this shit by his brother. The whole little brother, big brother dynamic. And because of that, and these kids keep feeding off lies, and my younger son especially has fed into lies and doesn't want to hear the truth whatsoever, I let him hear the truth verbally from the person who straight up admitted they lied to him and everyone else and actively fucking was the one that intentionally destroyed the relationship between him, his brother, and I. And then after that, they sort of kind of picked up the torch on their own and carried it on, and now they've been manipulated his mother, and they've been trying to do the same to me and my parents. But after kind of showing him the truth of everything and him acting like, I don't want to be a part of the drama. No, you've been a part of the drama since day one, dude. You, your brother, all of you are directly a part of it. You're the cause of it, really. We've got our own little dramas that go on in our own relationships. Like his mom and I had our own, different issues going on. She had a lot of her own issues going on, and I realized where mine were coming from because, well, she was doing the shit that she was doing. It's kind of hard to work with someone and give them a bunch of attention and do all this shit when they're too busy with other people and chasing other men and women. But anyways, to get back to this is, my son Christian. And either he's playing stupid or he knows exactly what he did and he's trying to backstep and it's not working. He actually made it worse. This is probably one of the meanest, nice text messages I've ever gotten from either one of my children. At least my older son is straight up an asshole to me and doesn't try to, play as anything else. He's an asshole to me and we've kind of accepted that relationship. I don't think of him any less or anything like that. He's an asshole. It's ironically a Duncan trait. I'm a fucking asshole. I don't put up with this type of shit. I will love you. I will forgive you. I will do all this shit for you. But the moment you betray me or my family or do some fucked up shit, I'll still stand by you and support, but I'm not going to fucking do the work for you to do the right thing. I love you, Dad, and I'm sorry. I've been hoping everything would go smoothly for once so everybody can move on, but we both know life never lets that happen. I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to push you out of Grandpa's house, but I can't move there if they're still living there. Or if you're still living there. Here's the thing about that part. There's a specific spot in there. I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to push you out of Grandpa's house. I made that specific comment to somebody, a very specific person. And for him to repeat that, either he pulled that out of his ass or something. And yeah, I did let him know at one point. I had been feeling that way too, as is. It's like, but I can't move there if you're still living there. I don't want that to sound like I'm trying to be mean because I'm not. That's the kind of comment that you're mean while you're being facetious and vindictive. I make some of those types of comments myself and truly mean it, but then there's also times I recognize, I'm trying to mean it, but I realize there's a little bit of vindictiveness to that term, to those words. You're going through a lot of shit, and I can't have my family live with that. Yeah, Christian, that's because of you and your brother. And Sue, and you guys actively manipulating and undermining my relationship with Melissa. She has her responsibilities too of what she did. And I have my part of what I wasn't doing, obviously, because I was getting tired of watching somebody have relationships with other men and women and prioritize friendships over their relationship. I've busted my ass to create a happy and healthy life for them, and I don't want any of us to be that involved with your situation. You've been involved with my situation from day one. See, you're trying not to sound mean, but everything that's coming out is actually really fucking mean. I've lived with you through so much bullshit that you've had to go through when I was a kid, and it definitely affected me, and I'm not trying to have my own son be around anything like that. So when your dad goes through a bunch of shit, and he's going through it, and you had to watch me go through a lot of bad shit, you're going to start putting your dad through that same exact bad shit. I know if we lived together, it would be horrible for our relationship, and I don't want that. It's kind of odd how we had a great fucking relationship all the way up until this bullshit started about a year or two before he graduated high school. And his brother and him were spending more and more time together, partying more and more time together, and talking shit more and more together where I'm concerned. Yep, no, we had such a horrible relationship that he never got spanked, never really got in trouble, and his older brother would get angry and think that I was playing favoritism. No, it's because I had raised this one right, at least I thought so, and I have always addressed situations circumstantially and individually. I'd like us to build a healthy relationship, and that won't happen if we live together. I love you, and I want you to be happy, but you're never going to be if you keep involving yourself with Melissa in any way. See, if you notice, right now, he's already gone through the process of blaming me for his horrible shit. When I didn't put him through anything. I did my best as a dad, and I raised him. He had an actual good life. I'd love for him to point to a moment that I beat him and I abused him. He can't. This is based on money. You know, good parents are supposed to have lots of money, big houses, and spoil their kids, when realistically a good parent is not going to do that. A good parent's going to raise their kids with morals, values, and love, and be able to provide what their children need. Everything else outside of that is an added extra or benefit. It's not a necessity. Going to her house and talking to her and dragging everything on is doing nothing but hurt both of you more. Well, I wonder why, because I come to find out she's been cheating and committing infidelities for the last at least several months at minimum, and she's been doing it. So from what I'm starting to realize, I admit I could be wrong, but I think you guys did. I think another child of mine and his grandmother gave her an ultimatum a while back, and I think also somebody gave her some money to make a choice, and she knows she fucked up. That's why she was getting called Miss Moneybags for a while there, because she got paid to sacrifice me to get what she thought she wanted, and now that she's for most part dealing with all this chaos because of it. Now, you guys are very much at core of a lot of these problems, so you got to look in the mirror. And learning what I did from her in those conversations and all, yeah, she's got to deal with the accountability of her actions, just like you are going to have to as well. That's why you're not getting a home. You guys are going to kill each other if it keeps dragging on. Yep, we're beating each other and we're doing all this fucked up shit. Christian, at what point have you and your brother lived with us and witnessed anything? Have you witnessed any of the shit? So even when somebody is even verbally, whether they knew it or not at the time, was recorded admitting their bullshit, you're going to ignore that, and you're going to ignore your own shit. And you guys are going to focus on the reaction of what happens when you guys alienate your dad and abuse him for 4 fucking years, and you get your mom to help out. And you're all sitting there behind his back, stabbing him in the back. She's selling her soul to the devil for fucking money and sex, basically. And you guys all helped influence her to do that. And in fact, I do feel that you guys created a situation that presented an ultimatum and put her into a choice that she knew she was being forced to make the wrong fucking choice. And now she's living with her decisions. I can forgive her at this point much easier than I can you guys right now. I don't want to be involved in your guys' drama anymore, and I don't think anybody else does. You guys been involved with it, literally. That's why Sue and Kenneth were so, immediately wanting to know where I moved to. Yep, nobody wants to be a part of our shit, but they need to know where I'm going and what I'm doing. Same with you, Christian. And you can enjoy that month-to-month lease. So if everything gets sorted out, we can move and help Grandma and Grandpa. Last thing I want to do is fuck Grandpa over, but I won't move into a toxic situation like that. Yep, there hasn't been any toxicity. The only thing that Grandpa's been bitching about is your brother's inability to pay his bill and has been fucking the credit, and you're being a liar right now. The ultimatum you just gave, you created a big shitstorm right here. Please just cut her off and get her out of your life. Melissa, I'm betting you got to hear this type of shit too. I wish you did it when I was still a kid, and it hurts me that I'm still getting roped into this shit as an adult, because you put yourself into this with your brother from the start when we got this house. And then you ran like a bitch to avoid taking responsibility and accountability like a man. It was easier for you to tell me to go fuck myself and give the silent treatment for the next 3-4 years, where your brother felt it was okay to call me any racist slur you can and make a bunch of threats and talk shit and try to say that, when you want to talk like an adult, I'll talk to you, yet he's not capable of doing so. I can show those text messages, and I've already done it. Everything out of his fucking mouth is shit, talking, threats, and name calling. And everything out your mouth is vindictive assumptions that really you just showed it reading this. You're a fucking idiot. I'm actually really disappointed in you, Christian. I thought you were fucking smarter than this. And the fact that you fall off that shit talking to I love you, Dad, and I just want you to be okay. But I know you never will be if you have any part of her life. No, really what it's turning into is she needs to recognize when she needs to cut a very sick child out of her life and a mother out of her life. I have to cut a couple very fucking vindictive children out of my life is what it's turned into. And I already did that with one. I'm going to have to do that with the other. Because you guys are very much at core of this shit. The alienation, when you guys alienated us and isolated us the way you did, the going around talking shit, Sue going around and talking shit about her daughter for her decisions of being with me, and then her friends Patty and these others talking shit also, shows what kind of people you were all this time. And when you want to talk about, about me taking the advice seriously, now is the time to do it. You didn't give any sound advice. What you did is you gave me the ultimatum that if I'm going to have a relationship with you guys, I have to move. And in order for that to happen, it's going to be on the phone. And I recognize now that's why you guys have been keeping Christopher away, because you guys are trying to feed this bullshit. Like you're trying to force it. So at this point, if you're going to use your child like a tool like that, you guys need to stay away. If you're going to be punishing me that way, you need to stay away. You're going to be fucking taking part in the manipulation of your grandparents, you need to stay the fuck away. You don't have a right to be dictating people's lives like that. You haven't even been around for the last 4 years, and over the last year, I've seen you 5 times, maybe, half a dozen times. And I watched the act go on in front of my face a few times. And you've already been caught in a couple lies, a couple things. If you'd like to say, like what, I just think you need to think about it for a while. Because I'm not telling you, if you're the smart one, you should know. None of you have right to fucking fuck with people's lives or relationships the way you did. To be fucking with people's heads, especially your parents. To be fucking over your fucking grandparents to try and hurt your dad, knowing that, the only place Dad can afford to really get a nicer home is in another state. So we're not going to have a relationship with my dad of any kind. We can't have a healthy relationship of any kind so long as he's around. If you haven't noticed, we don't really interact face to face. And has it been a good relationship? No. Because you guys are fucking pulling shit out your fucking asses. You guys fucked a family. And karma is coming for all of you. And I'm putting it straight as that. I don't put up with this shit from my children or anybody. You don't have a right to go fucking your family over because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, let alone you haven't been fucking around. This is the reaction that you guys want to assume that I'm going to go out and fucking beat people up and do all this shit. This is the reaction that you get
that you want to go by and go around and tell everybody I'm abusive and I'm a fucking monster because I don't put up with your fucking shit. I don't put up with anybody. I don't believe in hurting people. None of that the way you guys fucking do. Your gaslighting, your fucking silent treatments, your fucking avoidance bullshit, your fucking undermining, your fucking manipulations, your dictations, all this shit you guys are doing. I have every fucking right to be pissed with you. You can go around and take my reaction to what you fucking just did. You just opened a can telling me that you have a right to fuck with my life and my parents' life. You already fucked with my other half's life and already fucked with my relationship. This is what people are going around saying. He's an abusive fucking monster because you're going off a reaction. You know what reactive abuse is? It's where you get a certain reaction and then you go around and tell everybody, yeah, my dad's mean. He's abusive, this, that, and the other. No wonder I've been fucking pissed. Look in the fucking mirror. You, Kenneth, Sue, Melissa, all of you. Look in the fucking mirror. You're going to act like I don't have a right to be mad at you. You don't want all this drama. You created it, literally. You absolutely are very much a part of the drama. You've been a part of it since we fucking got this house. All of you had me sitting here fucking alone like I am now for 4 fucking years, and the only way I could fucking leave was to borrow money from family so I can go see them for 3 days and come right back. While she's cheating on me behind my back, and all of you fucking knew it. No, I'm not supposed to be mad. I'm being abusive right now, right? You don't want the fucking drama, but all of you created it. I wasn't out going out looking to get in somebody else's fucking bed. I wasn't out looking to have a relationship with somebody else. I wanted my fucking fiance to prioritize us and quit sucking your fucking asses off, fucking trying to make you happy to get your fucked up attention. All of you. She fucked herself up as a human being to try and make you fuckers happy. Just as you're going to try and get me to fuck my life up more to make you fucking happy. Fuck you. You don't have a right to go from fucking your parents' relationship up to trying to dictate who they can and can't see and what makes them fucking happy because you think you fucking know best. You're a miserable piece of shit to be doing that shit. You're obviously not happy with yourself if you're going to go out and fuck with other people's fucking lives like that. And if that's what makes you happy, again, fuck you. I'm done with your shit. I'm done with all of you playing these head games and fucking acting like you have had no part in it this whole time. If you actually knew what the fuck you're talking about, why aren't you here? Where have you fucking been all these years since getting this house, besides sitting on the other side of the fucking phone, talking shit behind my back and not capable to say it to me, even on the phone until now, when you think you're being nice? You've been manipulative and dictative, and all of this has to do with your fucking pride, your ego, and your fucking love of money and image. Fuck you again. Because of that, none of you are getting shit. You'll be loved and respected as you give it. You do not have right to do the shit that you did. And then to sit and act like, oh, I didn't take any part of it. You know, I don't want that drama. You directly were a part of causing it. All 5 of you. And the reason why I say all 5 is because your other half, although was not necessarily right up into it, you know, she was just as supportive, like a cheerleader. No, you don't have right to dictate people's lives like that. And then try to tell them how their life was, how things are, and all this shit when you haven't been around. I haven't seen your brother in at least maybe a year and a half, something like that. When he sat in that living room at his grandparents' house after I got in trouble and explained to him everything that had happened. And of course he sat there, like, Mr. Smartass. That type of shit. And then, tried to feed off the fact that I was giving him a benefit of the doubt. And he lied to my face about what he said to his mother and proceeded to sit and go, well, you don't need to paint me a bad light and all that. No, what you guys did is you put
Kenneth, you got practice trying to fuck your fucking grandma and her husband and all at one point, trying to break them apart. And it seems like you've had a lot of practice over the years fucking people's relationships up. And you get off on it. Like, you're really fucking sick. And the fact that you got your brother involved and you guys took it upon yourselves to destroy your parents like this. Because these comments aren't the first time I've heard these comments over the years. You guys have said this even before Melissa and I really had problems. So is there something that you've known about all this time that she was doing that I didn't? And you guys want to go off of my reactions to this bullshit? I don't go out starting shit with people. I don't go behind people's backs to manipulate them and then fucking lie to their face. I'm one of those people, you do you, I do me. If I'm in a relationship with you like I was with her, we do us. That's how it's supposed to be. It's a team thing. It's a relationship. It's not roommates. Every relationship's going to have their problems, and they're never going to be perfect. And you guys are about to find out soon enough for yours, because your shit's backfiring. Give it, all I'm going to say is give it time, because no relationship functions perfectly throughout the life of any of them. They don't. Think your grandma and grandpa didn't get in fights and all this shit growing up? You know how many times I watched that, you know, yeah, I watched my dad drunk as fuck, and I still remember him fucking laying his hand on my mom at one point. He had to learn a hard lesson too. A lot of his abuse came from verbal abuse and drinking. My mom's abuse was physical abuse, or she'd go around and do like what you guys do. She'll be nice to my dad's face and all that stuff, and talk about how he's a, you know, he's a good trooper and all that stuff. You know, he's quite the trooper for her, and, or what was it, quite the little trooper? But then she'll turn around and go to the family and talk about how shitty he is. Melissa did that to me because she was trying to get, my mom was trying to get her family's approval. Just as Melissa's been trying to get your guys' approval. And she figured if she talks shit about me, pull all this shit, and start feeding into the bullshit, that she'll get your guys' love and approval. Well, all you guys have done is actually fuck us up more. And between her and I didn't feed into your shit. And when you just tried to pull me into that, I didn't feed into it. I'm willing to take sound advice. I'm not willing to take bullshit advice from people who are literally going to advise you to destroy your life more. Yeah, we're going to alienate you more, you know. So if you want this, you got to move. I already knew I needed to move anyways because of my dogs. There's not going to be room for 5 adults, a child, and all my dogs. That's common sense. Now that they're not moving in, because they cost that themselves with this shit. And I don't fully, I'm not staying in that house because I do recognize that there are moments there where I get overwhelmed, or my folks get overwhelmed, and we can annoy each other. That's part of what happens when you live with people. And I can tell you, Christian, if you want to pull up all this shit about what it was for you growing up with me, I wish you were in my shoes growing up with my folks and my family. You don't have a fucking clue. You've got bits and pieces and all here and there. You don't have a fucking clue. Not one bit. I'd love to see you get to this point in life being abused like I was, starting from the age of 3. And it still continues on now with my own children abusing me because they think that it's okay to fuck with my life and my relationships because they either don't like me or they don't like her or vice versa. Whatever it is. You guys are we're trying to dictate a relationship and force something else. Whether you believe in God and karma, I happen to believe in both. You do have yours coming. And I'm not going to pull the shit that you guys are doing. And I'm not going to necessarily try and rub it in, but I will turn around and look at you and be like, well, pretty much I told you so. I won't turn my back on you guys the way you did me, but I will tell you to go fuck yourself. Just like you did me. You really don't have right to be dictating people's lives like you did. And then try to play me for stupid. Let alone try to play your grandparents for stupid. You guys, all of you, more so you 2 boys, It's not going to be to me or even your mom or whatnot, but you guys are going to be answering to someone at some point soon enough. That's not on a legal aspect or what have you, but you guys are going to find yourself in a situation that you're hopefully realize that that's called karma. It's coming back and it's going to come and visit you, and you're going to start realizing that all the chaos you just caused to somebody else is going to come back to you threefold. The fact that you guys kept doing it for a number of years, there's a good chance it might come back to you tenfold. What goes around comes around, and vengeance isn't mine. Vengeance is in God's hands. And be pissed at all you want. Be pissy and blow whatever fucking smoke out my ass if I want. But I'm not going to act on that vengeance. Some people, though, I feel like shit because I was trying to get somebody help, and I don't think it went the way I had hoped. Obviously, it didn't, and I own that. And that's come back to me, and it does haunt me still. It's obviously recent. It's been over the last week or so. And I'm not going to sit here and go, well, it's so-and-so's fault. No, I made that decision to even though with a set of intentions, I still did something stupid, and I've got to deal with that. I just wish you guys would learn to do the same thing instead of trying to put it onto me that it's my fault or try to talk shit about her to try to get me to think that I need to think shitty about that person too. We've had a lot of our issues and all that, and we've had some that we've been able to work through. Others we haven't been able to work through because we need to take the time to sit down and talk. We need to be able to communicate so that we can go, okay, this is what needs to happen. This is where we need help. This is where we need to, these are the things that we need to work on. And it's not just on ourselves, it's with each other. You're in a relationship, it's a team thing all the way through. You might have your own bank account, your own incomes, that type of stuff, and then share responsibilities on bills and all that. But when it comes to your relationship and each other, you are each other's priority. And people who sit there, oh, but my kids come first. Yeah, your kids do come first, right there with your spouse, your significant other. In your guys' brain, you seem to think that it's a podium like at the Olympics or some shit that only one person can fit on there. Then at that case, you must have forgot that you're the only one on that number one spot and everybody else is just kind of there. You have to prioritize the person you're with. You have to, I'm sorry, it's just how it goes. You have to, if you want your relationships to work, no matter how hard it gets, you have to prioritize it. I watched my parents, I'll put it this way. There's a reason why my parents have been married once and they're still married after 50-something years. See, I got to learn about what a real, genuine, stable relationship is and what it involves to have, because it's not easy. It's not all cake and ice cream and parties. It's a fucking battle. It's work. It's a job. It's basically a chosen career that your pay is that person that you get to spend the rest of your life with. And does that mean that that's something wrong? No. You ever hear the thing, choose the career that you love? That's the same thing within your relationships. If you love them, that's kind of like a career to you. You're going to spend your life doing this with this person. And if they can't see that it's got to be a reciprocative thing, obviously there's going to be issues. And if they can't work towards it, then yeah, it goes different ways. Yet it doesn't need to be done so at the help of a couple fuckheads who want to get in the middle of it and start dropping seeds here and there to see what sprouts, and then start watering it to create these problems. Family especially doesn't do that. I just realized I'm surrounded by relatives. I don't have family. And what family I do have, I might be lucky, other than my parents, maybe a couple people. And to me, family isn't just blood relatives. No, there's a lot of shit, and you guys know better. There's more than likely a lot more shit than I can even put my thumb on. Yet after getting that type of ultimatum, I know somebody else got the same one. A similar one. Very similar one. And it's very likely why they did what they did, and they ended up pulling this bullshit of going from one man to another because they can't be alone, and y'all know it. You literally push somebody into being an adulteress, and that's fucked up. Because she's trying to make you guys happy, and she's trying to make herself happy. And what she did is she really fucking hurt herself. She didn't just hurt me, she really fucking hurt herself. And I recognize that. That's why I don't want to see anything bad happening to her. And I'm willing to fucking deal with my fuck up on that situation. She needs help. She needs real people around her, to help support her through this shit and to do the right things. To not sit there and support her to go fuck somebody off because she gets pissy and can't handle it, or because you guys advise it. However that may be, whatever the fuck y'all doing. I know it's happening though. So those of you outside of the situation watching, I hope you enjoyed the fucked up show. I've got to get back into finishing the bathroom before it gets too dark, and then I get to finally run to town to finally eat, get something a little bit to eat today for myself. And even though I've got a little, puppy food here, dog food here for them to eat that I picked up last night, might as well get them some chicken nuggets or something. So, yeah, no, I'm fed up. I'm done. Family comes first. Not money, not lifestyles, not objective things. And if you feel you have to compete with your family and undermine your family, that was not your family. You're fucked up in the head and you need to go get help yourself too. Don't do that shit. Later.